to order at 6:01. This meeting is being recorded by committee chairs. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify me at this time. The purpose of this meeting is to prepare agendas for subcommittees for council consideration. No discussion or comments will be entertained unless requested upon by committee chairs. Roll call, Clerk Scott.
President Bottomley,
Here.
Vice President Gilmore,
Here.
Councillor Bullock,
Here.
Councillor Golub,
Here.
Councillor Toronzo.
Here.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Excellent. So we'll jump in first under President's notes, filling Precinct 7 councillor vacancy due to resignation of Jasper Lapiansky. And I'm happy tonight that we have 3 people that have applied that are here to speak to us. And we can have a discussion if you want with them. And I thought I would just go in alphabetical order. So Drew David, welcome. You're welcome to come up if you want. Probably better for hearing, huh? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I did prepare a little statement here.
Great.
Can I interject for just?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So we have a counselor who is attending online, so you need to announce that we have a counselor attending virtually. And any votes that need to be taken tonight will need to be taken in roll call if there are votes to be taken.
All right. So I think everyone heard that we have a counselor online.
That's
So
what I was trying to
will be following those rules tonight.
Okay.
So take it away.
Yeah, first, I apologize for my voice. I'm recovering from COVID right now, so everyone knows how that goes. So I decided to apply to this position because of my desire to serve our community. It's always been my interest to help those around me. I studied anthropology to understand why we behave the way we do, how we form our societies, and to gain an understanding and appreciation for ways of living beyond my own. I participated in study abroad programs and traveled extensively in my youth to gain a deeper understanding of the world. This desire to learn and understand others is what led me to my volunteer work at ILI, the International Language Institute, where I tutor students and newcomers to our area. That's also why I took my current position at the Public Defender's Office, where we work with some of the most vulnerable and marginalized people in our community and offer legal and mental health support. It usually surprises people when I tell them that a huge part of what we do is help people get assistance, whether it's counseling, addiction treatment, support finding employment. Our mission, much like my own, is to help the underserved people in our community. In addition to all this, my time at the SUNY Research Foundation gave me a deeper look into the world of grants at an organization that administers up to $1 billion of research grants per year. I believe my past experience makes me a good candidate for this position. A city councilor is someone who should be able to understand the residents, to listen to what they have to say, their experiences and their desires, and to make decisions with their best interests at heart. As a city councilor, I would look forward to working with you all to keep Greenfield a vibrant place to live, doing our research and deciding the best course of action for issues facing our city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So open that up if committee chairs have any questions.
I think it would be great to hear from everyone and then ask about
Oh,
questions, but I'm not sure, but I'm just thinking that's.
I think that makes sense.
I think so too. I think that's great.
Okay.
So I guess we'll move on. Sorry, this is
Maybe recalled to this.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Jesus Leyva. Welcome.
So I applied to the vacancy because I have been a regular participant both locally at many civic meetings, both here in Greenfield and in Northampton. So I have tried my best to familiarize myself with different parts of government for various specific reasons as I had become interested in local issues, whether it was in Northampton or in Greenfield. I would regularly attend the Board of Public Works meeting in Northampton for about 2 years. And as you know, I regularly attend the city council meetings here in Greenfield and the Public Safety Commission meetings and the school committee meetings as well. I think that we tend to have represented in government bodies people who are professionals, people who are retired, independently wealthy, or self-employed, so that they have some flexibility and in their scheduling. And I think that while it's important to have people with great amounts of expertise in these bodies, I think it's also important to have people representing the broader socioeconomic diversity of the community. I have reviewed a lot of the material of many of the issues that come before the city council, as you all have been doing the same. But I think the most important qualification that I bring to the table for the Precinct 7 seat is that I actually ran for city council. And though I didn't win, I have the explicit voter support of 100 people from my own precinct, and incidentally, an additional 1,200 people from outside of the precinct throughout the city. And I think that that's a very important qualification. Thank you.
Thank you. Win Perry. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us. So I already submitted my letter of intent and my resume to the council, so the council members pretty much know who I am. For the public, you might recognize my name from the Human Rights Commission of the last few years. So when the seat opened up, I'm thinking, well, gee, that's my precinct. And I thought, well, you know, why would I want to do this? But then I thought about all this stuff's been going on in the city for the last few years, and just thinking about, wow, if I had a chance to be on the city council, what would I do and what would I do differently? And I was thinking, you know, well, the first thing I would do is just listen. You know, there's a lot of talk in this town, but sometimes there doesn't seem to be a lot of listening. So I thought about listening. I wrote a few notes. And I thought, because of my Navy background, I'm a Navy retired, I was thinking about the concept of team and the mission and goals. Your mission is goal oriented. You're always trying to find the common source, the common, you know, finale, and working together to get there. And there seems to be a lot of division in town. I'd like to think that I could maybe help people get to a place where we could work better together. I was also thinking about what leadership's about. And one of the biggest things about leadership is letting people do their jobs. You know, let people do their jobs. Let the experts tell the city council, and then the city council can decide based on that, what direction to go. But all this second guessing that I've listened to the last few years seems very frustrating to me. And what's best for Greenfield? You know, that's the mission, right, of the city council, to make decisions based on what's best for Greenfield, not for our personal beliefs, not for our personal agendas, but for the city itself. And I don't think it's any big secret that's been a lot of politics going on in this community in the last few years. And so my biggest thing would be to try to avoid politics. You know, think about values and ethics, doing the right thing, and avoiding personal politics. I was stunned when I was on the Human Rights Commission, the amount of lobbying that people would come to me with and email me and, you know, message me on Facebook. And I was just stunned at the amount of people. And even when I applied for this seat, I got one phone call that was like, really? You're going to ask me to do? The person was asking me what my vote would be before I was even on the city council. To me, it just seemed like I was a personal agenda item instead of, you know, worrying about what's best for Greenfield. And then lastly, I was just thinking about, I saw the obituary for George Browski. For old timers, people know who George Browski was. He was on the city council years ago. And every once in a while, I'll see an obituary in the paper about someone who gave their time. And even in recent times, people have left the commission, the council for what very reasons. They get burnt out, they get frustrated, or it's just time to go. I wanted to pay homage to them by doing my time. I know it's not like a prison sentence, but sometimes it is in this community. But, we all have to stand up and step up and do our time to serve the community, to serve the town, to serve the council, and to serve each other. So that's why I thought I would give it a shot, So thanks for listening to me. Thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you all. So what do you think the best way to go forward now? We want to,
I think if we're gonna ask questions, my only experience with things like,
Okay.
so I've been on a lot of search committees, and when you ask questions, you ask everybody the same questions.
Right.
So I feel like if we're gonna do that, we need to give everybody the same kind of.
and we don't have to
fine.
necessarily do questions either. That's up to you. The most important part was just to have a statement and meet candidates here tonight. So I'm seeking your opinion since you're decision makers also.
I honestly don't have any questions.
I could have lots of questions.
I'm really open to any if anyone wants, or like I said, I'm fine with statements too that we've had. But it's wonderful that you're all here and you stepped up volunteering.
Agreed.
Well, it sounds like I think we can move on, if that's okay. I think that's great. Let's see. Next thing on the notes, final report and recommendations on chapter 7.7 and 7.8 of the charter review.
So this is my second committee chair's meeting. So my understanding is that, can I just say that I will give that update at A&O? Or do you want an update now?
I think
Or
it's
has-
mostly deciding where to put it, right?
Okay.
I had a
got it.
question.
Sure.
Yes.
Actually, so should the final report go to A&O first? And then come to full council, or does it make sense to come to full council since it's already finalized?
So there's two things. There is the report so for folks who don't know, there's been for a good deal of last year, there was an ad hoc committee to discuss two parts of the charter. 7.7 is citizens initiative. So when a group of citizens want to pass new legislation that the council member is not bringing forward, they can do an initiative and gather signatures and bring something forward. That's 7.7. 7.8 is if the council does something, votes yes on something, and enough people sign a petition saying that they want to repeal that decision, they can then collect signatures and put that on the ballot. So we've had a very long discussion in an ad hoc committee, which I was on last year. And there are two pieces that have come forward. And I'm just now having some conversations. I need to talk with Derek Healy. Councillor Healy was the other person, and I haven't yet been able to do that. I don't think that this should go, I think that this deserves some real deliberation and discussion. And so I think that it would be best for it to go first to committee and then to the full council, because there's the report and then there's the proposed vote. And I want to make sure that we're on the same page before we ask for a vote. And I think those two things in the interest of time should happen first at the committee level and then. But as I speak out loud, what the question that I have is, on here we have the report, but we're going to put forward probably a proposal for a charter change, which I imagine there's a report, and then separate from that is a new proposal. So I'm not sure if having the report go to A&O means that we're also having our proposal go to A&O, or if that has to be something separate that goes from committee chairs to A&O.
Well, it sounds like this should go to A&O, but you think for discussion?
I would say that obviously the change goes to A&O, but it seems to me like the full report, because that's not going to be modified by A&O, could go to full council just for all of us to get the it's not raw, it's a final draft form.
So.
That's just how I think of it.
So the
My
report
opinion.
is done, so it's a question of reading the report and then A&O would come up with at some point what they want to do, their recommendations for that.
That's a good point, because the report is just reading it. I mean, I'm not putting forward the report. I'm not sponsoring a report. It just came from the ad hoc committee as a whole. So I think that that's fine for that to go to the full council and then for our proposal to come through.
Right, because the way I was thinking about it, and this was so far in the past, and this has been this like ever evolving, because it started with the Charter Review Committee back in 2020. Yeah, it would have been 2020. It's been forever ago. So it's just us accepting the report
Mhm.
and then like, I don't think we would do this, but in theory, we could just stick on the report. I don't think that anyone would, but
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think when it comes to the full council, will that just be acknowledgement of receipt? Like, because there's nothing to be voted on there.
So going back to when this ad hoc committee was created, the intention was for the ad hoc committee to review and make a recommendation that would go to A&O, and A&O would take all the information they had and make a decision and a recommendation to the council whether to keep, change, modify.
Yep.
So that's what the intention was when it was begun.
Yeah, that is true.
So it sounds like we're at that point where it's gonna go to committee to get a recommendation on what to do with the final report and the recommendation of the ad hoc committee. Kind of in the same way that like the capital improvement committee has their own stuff, they report it to Ways and Means, and Ways and Means then reports it to the full committee. It seems like this is a stepping stone kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess I don't know who from, the committee did not come to complete consensus. And I'm not sure how it's not like, it's complicated. And
Did the report not have, did the report and recommendations not have a
Can I jump in here just
Marianne Bullock has a-
like
no
num-
chair?
number,
Oh, sorry, your hand was up. I didn't see that.
did it not have like a 3-2 vote or a?
yeah, we did have a vote. So, and I could speak to the report. I don't know that I'm thinking out loud.
It's all in the.
Yeah.
Just.
Right,
Yeah. I
you're
think-
right.
And Councilor Bullock also had requested to jump in.
Thank you.
Yeah, my understanding, just as the previous A&O chair, was that the report was gonna come to A&O. It would be discussed at A&O and a recommendation would come out of A&O from that report. And then if there was charter changes to be made, that would be a separate introduction. So I believe the order should be that this report goes to A&O. A recommendation comes out of A&O to the full council, was how I understood the process was gonna happen last year.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
stand corrected.
Okay.
So we'll put that to A&O this month.
Yeah,
Under discussion.
Yes.
under discussion, yes, please.
The next one is resolution in support of paint stewardship legislation.
Yeah, and I can take that on CRE, and maybe we talk about this later on, but that is on a holiday, which we don't normally do, so we'll have to figure out how we will schedule that.
Next one, consideration for a new parliamentarian.
May I just interject there?
Oh, yes,
If
yeah.
it's helpful. All the books from A&O today may not like me saying this. And I'm gonna say that, if it's impossible for CRE to meet because of the holiday, then I could see that going on. And I know that's the only thing on your agenda. I could see that going on the, agenda if need be for it to go forward. I'd rather not add things to people's to-do list, but if that's the only way to make that happen, I'd be willing to take it.
Well, and I don't think it's super time, so let's talk about it when we go to set the CRE agenda, because then we can pull out calendars and start looking at what's available.
Consideration for new parliamentarian. I'm not sure where to put this. I did a little bit of research. There's not much written down about it. All I can find is that the parliamentarian is invited at the request of the council president. There's nothing else that I could find written down about how we select a parliamentarian.
Correct.
So I don't know that that really needs, also, we're not going to have to deal with this immediately. So I think that can, I don't know that that really needs to go anywhere now. Unless anyone has any other thoughts on that.
Other than like, hey, solicitation, do you want to be a parliamentarian? Like, put in a request,
Well, that's
you
true.
know, I mean, other than that, I mean, like you said, I don't really know how you go about soliciting for one.
And I did do a little bit of work in Boston. The clerk, the city clerk is the parliamentarian.
Uh-oh.
So there are different ways to do this, but there's definitely can be a benefit to having a parliamentarian. I think everyone would admit that, but I don't think it's at this moment. Will Roberts has been serving, and I believe is till June.
I think June is the last month that he
Okay.
intends on being there.
So hopefully I can find out more information on that to bring forward. So I don't know if we want to just leave it on notes, but I don't think it has to go anywhere.
Maybe he's got a friend.
So do you want to leave it on, under president's notes?
I think so. We had another request from a counselor to have a member of the planning board attend economic development committee meetings. So I mean, I guess we can request that. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. Committee members. I'm not sure that a planning board member would have the time, or
Is there a rationale behind this?
this was submitted by Counselor Ricketts. I don't know that I saw a rationale in the email, but there could have been one. That was a while ago.
I'll just say I feel comfortable requesting a planning board member to attend an EDC meeting if necessary, but I don't feel that I need one there at EDC unless I request it. And I have done a lot of talking to figure out the questions that I have between last meeting and this meeting.
Yeah, I'm guessing that came about because of the confusion over a new council and the transition of power and the transitioning of various zoning amendments that came to us. So there was a lot of confusion around that. So hopefully going forward, we'll be able to do a little bit better.
So do we want to leave that the chairperson will ask for an invitation if needed?
Yes, I think that's
Okay.
great. The next one is establish a policy for counselors on video display. I did find out that best practice is to have your video on when speaking. But there is no actual requirement in open meeting law to have your camera on if a counselor is online, but it has been our policy to have it on as much as possible. That's what we've encouraged counselors to do. So I think we can continue to say that, and I don't know if I can put that where I can put that on the full city council meeting, just to remind counselors if they're online to try to be have their face on the screen if possible.
It's important if they're talking,
Right.
for sure. I mean, I think there's also something to be said about personally, at least, we've set some guidelines before, aren't there? Like the 5 essential reasons why you should be remote. Like we've still allowed, like the state has allowed us to have remote hybrid meetings, but I remember us having a vote before about kind of, I think there were 5 reasons why you would do it, i.e. military service, illness, blah, blah, blah. There might be some of those times where it could be a little embarrassing to be on camera. Let's just say you have the flu and you're trying to attend remotely, you might not, it might not be the best look. And again, that's all just, circumstantial and superficial, I guess, but there might be a reason why some folks might not want to be on camera the entire time. If they are trying to attend remotely to the best they can, other than just being absent. That used to be the thing. Like if you were ill and you couldn't attend, you would just be absent. With technology, we have added this little caveat that we can hold a quorum, we can add folks to the meeting, which is nice in some respects, and then a double-edged sword in others, I feel like. So I don't want to make this like more difficult for folks. Like, yes, good faith effort, try to be on camera, especially when speaking. That's my 2 cents, but.
So I don't know if we need that as an official agenda point somewhere, or I can put it somewhere just to,
We can maybe find a place to put it
yeah, just.
that you recommend to have video on when speaking.
Yes, yeah, if
Okay.
possible, yeah. And the next one is assignment of city council representatives to various committees. We have library building committee, mayor's task force against domestic violence, sustainable implementation committee, the Greenfield Business Association. And so I cannot remember how these have been done in the past. We just got it, all the counselors, if they're interested in these
I
committees.
believe last time-ish, a list was put out to the counselors through email. And it was said that if you have interest in being a council representative on one of these committees, please send your name back. And then you would be in on that and you would make that announcement at a council meeting that so-and-so is the representative on such and such board.
So we can just do that through email.
Yeah.
That sounds, yeah.
I have a question about that, though. Do we
Yep.
still have a library building committee?
Yes.
Oh, what do they do?
Well,
Now that
it's not,
I mean, not to sound,
yeah, it's not finalized yet. There's, it's not completely 100%. I don't know what they are, but it's not 100% done yet. So yes, there is still a building committee.
Okay, so it looks like that one's taken care of. We'll send an email out requesting counselors and amend zoning Article 7. This is one, the major development review. We got a petition, which Kathy, you'll help me if I get this wrong, which when we get a petition, we acknowledge by putting it under new business.
So it's not a first reading, but it's like a first reading under new business to let the public know that a zoning amendment proposal, new ordinance change to ordinance has been received and is going to travel through its stages. So we may call it a first reading, but it's not really a first reading.
And so, yeah,
I thought there was like we had to accept the petition in a public meeting, like say, like we have received it. I thought there was some sort of knowledge.
No, chapter 40A zoning says that it has to be forwarded to the planning board within 14 days, which that has been done because when it was received and the email went out to the council, I also included Eric Torg, who's the planning department chair.
and I defer to Counselor Bullock on this one too, because we did get our legal consult back. There was a question about if the planning board's positive recommendation held or was valid, and it was found that it is.
Yeah, my
yeah.
understanding is this goes back to planning and we can hold a joint hearing on it. And then it travels to council again for a vote.
Yes. So the question is, do you want to do you have a month that you want to put this on? Or do we have to wait for planning board? Because they,
It has, Kathy, go ahead, Kathy.
So generally, the council office and the planning board office talk, and within that timeline, a joint public hearing is scheduled. But we make sure that it's good for planning and EDC. And it's either on the standard planning board meeting night, which is every other Thursday, or it's on the EDC standard meeting night. It's kind of like a take turn type of thing.
Yep.
And I don't remember whose turn it is.
So I'm indifferent about whose turn it is. So whatever makes sense for the planning board, I'm fine with doing. So we should just schedule a joint hearing. With one caveat that as long as it's not school vacation week, which
And
is,
what is that week?
that is the
President's
week,
Day.
yeah, the week of President's Day, like the February 19th through the 23rd.
Point of clarifications.
Okay.
You know what came in text, you don't get point of clarifications, you're out on board.
okay, so we're good with that one?
Mhm.
The next one is PIP update, which is actually, I did not spell that out, which actually counselors have asked too, that we have a lot of abbreviations, and I should have spelled this out in my email, that is public input plan for the cleanup at the former Lunt property. This one is for Counselor Bullock. In the past, this has resided on EDC. And there may, for any updates, just because it started with a potential sale of land of that property, which was when the discovery happened on all that. So I was wondering if that could just be put as a standing item under discussion when updates are needed.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, let's see, the next one, approve presidential primary election warrant. This is Clerk Scott.
Yes, so the presidential primary warrant for March 5th. We received a draft and I don't know if it is in page 40. Yeah. Greenfield's draft is on page 41. The council has to approve the presidential primary warrant. And also that I just remembered, the council has to allow the clerk, this is how it usually goes, allow the clerk and a representative of the police department to work together to have police officers at the polls. But I'm breaking the law by talking about it because it's not on the agenda. So
We'll call it new business.
we'll call it new business.
Yes.
And if we could also remind the public not to use the chat for any comments, that would be appreciated.
Yes. Open meeting law complaint, and was withdrawn. I just wanted to put this somewhere. So, are gonna just change our policies a little bit to be more clear on how we're doing certain things. Like if we go into an executive session to discuss litigation, in the future, we will put the case, the court it's in, and the docket number. So it's really clear what we're discussing. And also if we discuss executive session meeting minutes, we're going to have the dates listed as well as subject matter on those, just so it's really a little bit more clear, because last time there was a lot going on. I could have been a little bit clearer in saying that we were only reviewing executive session minutes, meeting minutes in that executive session. So I just wanted to get that out there, and I don't know if I should probably say that at the full city council meeting too. So wherever we need to put that, would that be under new business?
Yeah, I think it would probably be a good place.
Unfinished business?
Where would you like it put?
Old business. I thought it was pretty clear myself, but I understand why you want to
We
reiterate.
have created the template,
Oh, yes.
an order template for executive session, which has instructions to us. You know, if we're reviewing minutes, list dates, list subject matter, if we have court cases, because many executive session discussions haven't gotten that far, they don't get that far. But we do have a template made so that we will now meet those marks.
Takes away the curiosity.
Takes away the appearance of secret.
Right.
Yes, much as we can, we will try to do. Let's just put under new business.
Okay,
And then the next one is mayor's appointments. There's quite a few here. This would be A and O. Yep. I don't think there's anything else on that. Council sponsorship of ordinances, resolutions, and community requests to be placed on council agenda under report of committees. This is Councilor Golub.
This is literally just a 2-minute. I want to share that I'm really trying to encourage community members when they come to us with a new idea for them to do the work of trying to find a counselor to sponsor it, or also for counselors to be thinking of when we get requests, are we wanting to sponsor it? So that it doesn't just randomly come, into our email and then get placed here without someone to sponsor it, and then get placed on the A&O without someone committed to doing the work to back it up. And I'm just wanting to share with counselors and the public who were at the end of the meeting and hear me say this, that I'm including like a sentence or a half of a sentence before people give public comment at A&O meetings, just to help people, do their advocacy well and not have things like, having things be well stewarded. So it'll take me a minute or two to say exactly what I just said.
Yeah, that sounds good.
under what
Did you want to do?
Under new business?
new business?
Sure. Rescind borrowing authorization from sewer enterprise, that's Toronto.
That's great.
Approve expenditures for the EPA solid waste infrastructure. That would also be Ways and Means.
That's correct.
And I think that's it.
Fair.
That's it for our notes.
All the
So,
dollar signs.
Economic Development Committee. Oh, and yeah, I see one of the points under here is being rescinded. The easement for
Mhm.
parking spaces.
It was withdrawn.
Um. So this under here would be the joint meeting.
So it won't happen that fast.
Okay.
Because publication has to happen twice in 2 successive weeks, no less than 14 days prior to the meeting day.
Say that again?
Twice in 2 successive weeks, no less than 14 days prior to the meeting date. I've said it a few times.
That's impressive. So do we have anything else on Economic Development Committee in this month?
Easy, Mary Ann.
No,
The PIP plan, the PIP,
Oh, yeah.
Public Improvement Plan.
Which there could be an update from Glen Ayers, but they also have there's a neighborhood action group meeting at the end of this month also.
so yeah, let's hold the PIP till next month.
Okay,
And, cause isn't the 65-day clock running on the MDR thing? So Kathy, let's just talk tomorrow on how soon we can do that joint hearing.
Okay, I'll ask Tammy to contact Eric early in the morning to
Okay,
get a thought on when. Is that okay?
yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Appointments and ordinances. Wednesday, February 14th. Looking at these. What's that?
Want me to go?
Yeah, if you know what's under that.
Yeah, so my question is for the first item there, the public hearing. Can we also vote on that after the public hearing?
You can?
Okay. So those two things will be a vote on, and then,
So that would come to the full council.
so, yeah, and can we move? So, question, if things are on, so I'm seeing that some things are discussion and some things are above discussion. If something is listed under discussion and it's ready for a vote, can a vote be taken, or does it have to appear on the agenda above discussion?
So it's a good idea to have it under motions.
Okay,
But if you have an order that you want to vote and move it through, first of all, if you know that you want to vote it, let us know and we can put it on under motions. But a lot of these things are just hanging out.
yeah, so the one thing that I have not been asked by committee members to have a vote on any of the things yet. The one that I put forward that I would like to put under motions is the public participation piece. And if something's on, under motions, always, anything can be tabled at any point, right? Just, so that piece I would like to put under motions.
So you'd like to amend the rules of procedure 56512. You want that under motions?
It is, yes,
Okay.
that's exactly correct.
Okay.
And also, I'm going to, well, the report and recommendations, there's no vote to be taken there. Can I, as the chair, if I decide at the last minute that I want to put that higher up in the agenda, am I able to do that, or?
Yeah, it's your committee meeting?
Yeah,
think so.
what has to happen in order to change the order of items on an agenda?
You should let us know so that we can get the agenda properly posted in the order that you want. And if you want some sort of vote for the final report and recommendation,
Okay,
you would need to have language for that.
yeah, no,
No, that's okay.
okay, I don't want to vote on that.
Mhm.
I'm just, it may be better to put it higher up in the agenda. How about, could we place that under discussion, but as the first item under discussion?
Yeah.
Please, thank you.
And otherwise, all those updates and everything under discussion is still on there.
Yeah, the counselors all have taken the lead on those and will share what they've discovered.
Great.
Are they going to be sending information in to be included in the packet? Language proposals, that sort of thing?
I would anticipate that they would let me know that, but what is the timing? So today is Tuesday and our meeting is on Wednesday. And 4 of my committee members at least are present here, so yeah, 4. When do they, if they want to submit things to the packet, what is the deadline for that?
All right,
Yeah,
so
for subcommittee.
your meeting is on the 14th.
Yeah,
I would say by like 10 a.m. on the 9th,
okay.
because it's the Friday before. We try to get, we don't always succeed, but we try to get packets out the Friday before a meeting.
Okay,
And if they have language that they want discussed at the meeting, everyone should get it in the packet
okay.
for the counselors and the public to know what's going on.
Okay, that sounds great. Is that something that you could do, email the ANO members, or is that my job?
We could,
To let the request that they submit it by then?
okay, I'll take a note that we'll send an email.
Thank you. Okay, perfect.
So that's it for appointments and ordinances. Community Relations Committee.
Yeah, so we're meeting, or we're supposed to meet on a holiday, which we don't normally do. So I don't feel like the resolution is really time sensitive, but I'm open to being corrected. If I'm wrong, someone please let me know. Is it time sensitive?
I don't know the exact timing. I know that the Ways and Means Committee I don't know if it's the House or Senate, has requested has stated that they're looking for resolutions from municipalities and that will influence their vote. And I don't know when that vote is planned, so it may be time sensitive.
Well, I'm wondering if it makes sense to move that to the week after city council. Or even the day after city council.
Do you want to do it Tuesday before Ways and Means? We could always push ours back to 6:30 if you want to go for 6. I don't imagine.
Is that the 20th?
That'd be the 12th. I don't imagine that one item's gonna take. I mean, maybe I'm overstepping there, but I don't imagine that one item's gonna take a whole lot of time. So
I wouldn't imagine so.
I'd be willing to postpone ours for 30 minutes if you wanted to have it at 6.
Are you talking about having a CRE at 6 and a Ways and Means at 6?
I was just saying it could happen.
On the 20th.
Is that reasonable? I don't want to put a lot of work on you if it's gonna be unreasonable.
I'm just trying to find out what we're talking about.
I don't know. I mean, it also could go to A and O. I mean, I know you guys have a big, but I don't think this is going to be a huge discussion for an entire committee to meet, but
If I thought it was going to be a long discussion, I wouldn't offer because we have a big meeting, but I mean, who knows? But I don't anticipate a very long discussion about it. It's pretty straightforward.
I'm happy to do it either way. The only thing that I can't say from looking at my calendar is whether or not the rest of my committee is available that day. I'm available that day.
We got a few days. Figure it out, right?
Or do we have to decide tonight which committee it's going on?
well, I
I mean,
mean,
that's typically what we do.
because I think this could go forward to full council. I think this
Yeah.
is most likely.
Do we want to do that?
That would be better.
Yeah.
I feel protective of people's time.
No, I
And
agree.
I don't think it probably would take the same amount of time on the full council if it didn't go to A and O than if it did go to A and O. I don't think it's gonna take a lot of time.
Probably true.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
true.
I'm comfortable with that.
So we're canceling CRE
Yeah,
and that paint resolution is going straight to council.
yes. I will speak with Councilor Wondolowski to speak to that. Let's see, where are we? So now we're at Ways and Means.
Yeah, I'm just like, can all of mine go right to?
Yeah.
Only I get to.
How does this look? I'm going through here.
Say about,
2, 3, 4.
I bet it's about 5/7 of that. It's gonna be pretty cut and dry.
Right, and did we catch everything that was up under notes? Was there
I
looking?
thought you did.
Yes, I think we're good.
I agree. Is this order acceptable to you, Mike?
Sure. I'll take a monthly comment. Do I start with the worst and go to the easiest or?
Totally agree.
Ascending order
Yeah.
based on the amount.
City clerk report. That's right.
So at the last council meeting before the meeting started, there were a couple of representatives from GSB that came and wanted to maybe come to a council meeting to talk about the parking spaces and that sort of thing. The mayor did withdraw. Sorry, my brain is not entirely here. the easement for the 7 parking spaces, is that what they would want to come talk about?
It's like it.
Because if it's been withdrawn,
Then it probably is no longer, yeah.
I mean, the words here say regarding the easement.
correct?
That's true. So
Yeah, there's no longer an easement, and my understanding is this issue does not have to come to city council for the sale to happen anymore. So we could invite them to come to council to like share
Their feelings?
what they want to share, but there's
But
no
we
more,
can also let them know that it was withdrawn.
yeah. There's no more easement to discuss.
right, right.
I imagine they know that.
Yes.
If anybody knows it, I imagine they do.
I would hope that they're
That
not finding
last
out through us.
meeting too, but it was weird. They knew that last meeting too, but they still showed up. So I don't know if they just wanted to like talk about buying the
Mhm.
building to the council or something, but it could be worth just reaching out to them and saying, we're happy to invite them. What do they want to talk about?
Is that what we'd like to do?
Yes, and then if we did that, where would we put them?
Invited guests?
Yeah, I mean, because they did say, I seem to remember like just introducing themselves to the community too, so they may just want to say we're here and introduce themselves. So if they still want to do that, I think we should invite them. Or if you know, if it was all about the easement thing, that's fine too.
We'll tease it out.
Yes, and so now we're under the draft for the full city council meeting.
Mhm.
Which will start with suspending the rules of procedure so we can swear in, hopefully, a new precinct 7 counselor.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Yeah.
So will you, or when will you know who the recommendation will be recommendation will be for, and I'm making an assumption that the candidates will be let known who is going to be put forward to attend, is that correct?
Yes, so, and of course, I have an email somewhere that I sent to the candidates for what committee chairs decided.
The 15th, right? 14th or 15th? I feel like
It's just
It was something like that.
had this.
we just talked about this too.
I
I've
know.
already forgot.
Yeah. Well, that was a rough night, wasn't it?
All right, so our process is committee chairs will send recommendations to council president via clerk by the end of the day, February 13th.
Okay,
And then I will submit a recommendation of the clerk by the end of the day, the 14th, for inclusion on the 21st council agenda. So we didn't talk about exactly if I should email counselors to let them, or to let applicants know who's chosen. Would that come from the clerk's office or me?
it could come from either. I
Okay.
believe last time the president reached out.
Okay, I can do that. Which would be, I mean, I guess it could happen before it would happen for sure by the end of the day, the 14th, but it could happen before if I have all the recommendations of committee chairs before that.
Okay.
So as soon as I have recommendations, then it'll happen.
Okay.
Let me go back to the agenda. Is your agenda?
Top of page 4.
Suspend the rules, then yes, the presidential primary election. Mayor's appointments.
Oh, I can read the warrant. I read fast.
Okay,
It's a short one this time.
I still read fast.
It's November that's gonna be
Take that one.
very long.
Oh, I forgot about this. Take from the table to authorize the mayor to sell 188 Main Street.
So do you want that on the agenda? Nothing has been said to us. We're reminding you that it's there.
I've heard nothing on that. Yikes.
It's probably safer to leave it on the agenda. That way, if something, because you know how we get emails, something might change between now and city council. If it's on the agenda, we can talk about it. And if it's not, we can leave
That's
it on
true,
the
we can
table,
table
right?
it, yeah.
Just not
Yep.
give it up too.
Yep, so that's good. So we'll leave that. Oh, and then,
The easements will come off.
yep. On premiums,
You know,
water
those are,
enterprise.
all those are like second readings and votes, right?
Yes.
Sewer enterprise, GSET. Cities Reserve Fund. For the MOUs, approve expenditures for the EPA solid waste infrastructure. And rescind borrowing authorization from
Tammy
sewer.
has it nicely laid out for us where things should go.
Report of committees.
So that's where she was suggesting to put the A and O.
You want that instead of new business?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. Wow, no first readings?
Crazy.
Wow. That's right, new business, I'll talk about that.
So there were a couple, we had a couple of other things in the business.
Well, we were gonna add the A and O thing. Is there something else?
Yeah, there are a couple pieces from A and O, and I'm not sure if they would need a first reading or, but the proposed budget process changes and the public participation rules changes.
Oh,
That
yeah.
does not-
Where will those go?
So are you looking to have them voted on
At A and O?
at council?
Oh, no, yeah.
Yes. If, as long as they're voted on, in committee, then yes.
Well, that would go back under motions, right? We'd have to add a motion.
And if there's a snag in a committee, we should table it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So we're gonna put the resolution for the paint stewardship.
yeah.
all right.
Get back to.
And then.
So then-
Nothing on tip, residential target.
On page 3, the things from A and O, the proposed amendments to the Greenfield Charter, finance and fiscal procedures.
So you,
So we're
you
going
want
back.
those to be voted on by the council?
Yes, if, unless there's any reason not to do so that I'm not aware of.
Can they go that quickly? I'm wondering, because the
Yeah.
public hearing is only a week before.
Yeah, I, you know this process better than I do.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm a little, okay, so you would like the amendments to the charter that is going, I'm sorry, I'm
So I can
kind of
say-
tired.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
tell you what I'm thinking.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yeah, so ultimately, the changes to the charter, there's two things. One, the change to the charter and a change to the code around our budget process. Those, unless those are tabled by A and O, those will need to come to the full council for a vote. And I don't know what the timing, like the pacing of that is,
Mhm.
hearing or, and the other thing that would need to come for a vote that we moved to motions is the public participation piece.
For the rules of procedure.
Yes, if that comes out of A and O, then yes, whatever pacing is appropriate for that to be voted.
All right, so if, when the A and O meets, they come to a consensus, through discussion or what have you, about language for the charter changes and the code,
We don't need to come to consensus, though. We have.
You have to vote.
Vote to recommend one
That's-
way or another.
consensus.
Okay.
The first part has a public hearing, does that?
Right, so you have, no, you hold the public hearing, you get public input, public comment. Then you review the proposed language. If the committee votes to recommend the language as proposed or as amended or anything like that, it can go on the council agenda to be considered by the council. For both all three, actually, the charter change, the code change, and the rules of procedure
Okay,
change.
great.
Um,
Okay.
so it can happen that fast. It doesn't always happen that fast.
Sure.
Yeah. So I would like it to be able to happen that fast if there's a recommendation. So if those could be
Mhm.
on the agenda, that would be
Okay.
great. And I think that, and maybe you're already, like you just said, in fact, there are three pieces. So just want to reiterate that the charter change to the budget process and the code change to the charter process should be voted on separately.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Those are both part of the public hearing. Whereas the other one is not, correct?
correct. So the rules of procedure change
Is not.
is not part of the public hearing.
Which is ironic because it's about public participation.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Well, and is there a way, just as I presented them in A and O, they need to be thought of. They need to be discussed together. They come together. It's just that some of the laws around how the budget process happened live in the charter, and some of the laws around how it happens live in the code. But for people to wrap their minds around it, I'll need to be able to speak to both. Is that like what is the legality of that?
So you can only have one motion on the floor at a time.
Yeah,
So you want to, I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, yes, please.
So you want to stick to the topic of the charter amendment. And then stick to the topic about the ordinance amendment, even though they intertwine.
so is it possible somehow to put in the, if people haven't sat down with it and digested it and really done their homework, it doesn't make that much, they don't make that much sense distinctly. It's like I'm proposing a whole new, I mean, it's not hugely different, but together I'm proposing a different timeline for
Mhm.
how the budget happens. Is there, department heads are able to make a presentation. It will only take like 3 minutes for me, I think, to say, this is the end result of these two things, but I would love to be able to share that with counselors so they can really understand the full scope of it.
I had a suggestion, but it slows the process down a little, but if it was just a report under a report of committees and then to be voted on at the following meeting, which, something so big like that, maybe people do want some time to sit with it instead of voting on it the night that they hear because I know I won't be able to attend A&O that week.
Okay.
Is that like kosher for open meeting law?
So if I heard you correctly, under report of committees at the council meeting, you're suggesting that Counselor Golub provide a summary
Of how the two work
of the two
together.
work together?
But couldn't you do that at A&O?
Yeah, I could do it in a,
I'm just gonna offer, if you guys remember the roadside mower last year and how it got split between sewer enterprise funds, water enterprise funds,
Uh-huh.
and then regular DPW funds. And so we had the same backup 3 times, even though we were talking, because they were splitting into thirds.
Mhm.
I feel like that kind of presentation could be the same as if you're sharing the same backup under the charter amendment and then sharing the same backup under the code change. I don't know if that would be just a cogent way of marrying the two without violating something else, you know what I mean? Like, you would be explaining the same rationale for both and kind of being like, say without saying, hey, these two
So I think,
kind of work together.
I think maybe a report in February, and so that everyone, like you said, can digest the information, wrap their head around. And this is also another reason why charter amendments don't go through quickly, because you want people to digest it and absorb it and tease it out, So perhaps if you would like, under new business, if you'd like to do that, even if you have something prepared summarizing what the changes would in effect do. You know, and also going back to when we had the little orientation at the council meeting, like, you know, have you talked to the departments that would be effective? Have you gotten their input? Have you spoken with, you know, the big departments
Mhm.
that have the bigger budgets, that have the bigger capital requests? You know, I don't need police, fire, schools, and who am I missing?
BW.
DPW, there you go. You know, have you, Dee's sitting in the back, kind of like waving a little bit. Have you talked to the finance director? Because all of those pieces of communication, once everyone wraps their head around it and once everybody is like, okay, yeah, we can do this, or it needs to be a little tweak here, a little bit tweak there. That's gonna make it through the council more efficiently.
Yep.
But again, you're the council. I
Yep.
just work here.
Agreed. Yeah, no.
So,
Agreed.
if you say under new business, you want to give a summary of the proposed changes, then
It's possible. It's fairly dry though, and I worry at hour 4 or 5
It's,
that's not.
Optimistic.
If your purpose is for it to sink in, I don't think it's
Or-
going to be effective.
I just don't think it's gonna be quick either way.
yeah.
Well,
Or
that's true.
could it be a memo?
I mean, it is a memo.
Yeah.
And it is on counselors to do their homework and to read the stuff. So,
Mhm. I just think it's fresher when it comes to the committee meeting. I
yeah,
don't understand why you can't provide a summary and then open something up for a motion, or like you said, you have the summary is the same for both. But I just am thinking out, I just don't feel it's effective at the
Okay.
end, but
yeah.
you are providing information at that hour if you want to.
But I guess anything that's voted on requires us to wrap our minds around it.
Mhm.
Hopefully counselors will do their homework.
Yeah, I just like to, for me, I like to keep their process where it goes to committee. Because we've seen what happens with the recycling grant, that's the entire discussion came through
Yeah,
communications
okay.
with town employees, which I don't think is really helpful. I think it's better if we can have it go to a committee and be fully vetted there.
okay, then,
Easier to find too, if somebody wants to go back and watch something than looking under new business on a council meeting.
okay. That's, so then let's put it with everyone's agreement, let's put it on the regular agenda. And if we haven't been able to provide a recommendation from A&O, then we can just move on.
Yeah, you could just motion to table it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can live in A&O for a while too, if it was.
So if A&O doesn't forward a recommendation,
Mhm.
we should remove it, this is my thought,
Okay.
remove it from the council agenda.
Great.
So that we're not tabling something when we absolutely
Yeah.
know that,
It's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you still got the whole week, right? So
yeah.
it's within the 5 days, right? So.
Where were we at here? Oh, we were gonna put, I don't know, one of the things we were gonna put under new business was just mentioning the council's video display recommendation. That'll take like 2 seconds. However you wanna, I don't know the best way to phrase that.
We'll drum something up. We'll pass it by you. When everyone is done, I have one other thing to say.
Did we catch everything off that front? I think that was it for new business.
I think so.
Let's see, yep.
Well, do the budget changes have to have a first reading?
No. No, amendments to ordinances, and charter, you don't have to have a first reading, you have to have a public hearing,
Okay,
which is.
which is what we're having.
Yep.
And so the first reading happens if it's a new legislation is being proposed. Is that right?
Not necessarily, but sometimes it does go, like we have a notice of zoning amendment here.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do that for new ordinances also, but it's not a requirement. It's just a courtesy to let the public know what is going on.
Okay, great.
Go back down here, we hit notice of zoning amendment, and that is the end. So we've covered everything, I believe.
I have one thing.
Oh, yes, sorry.
The next committee chair meeting is on March 5th. I will not be able to attend, totally fine. You can still hold the meeting, the committee chair meeting without me. You don't need me here. So just food for thought. If you want me here, I won't be here on that day. So I got something else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to remind you of that, and you change it, you change it, you don't, that's fine.
I don't have, right.
Oh, I won't be able to attend that day either.
I also won't be able to attend on March 4th.
Which is when I would have showed up because I showed up here last night.
Did you really?
I did. I was like, I had in my head first Monday of the month because
Mhm.
last month we had it on a Monday.
Yeah.
Got here and I said, there's only one light on upstairs. I feel like there's an error.
Like it's not
I
happening.
was like, maybe it's at the John's on.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the thing that said today.
I don't know, I mean, I really like having you here. Since you have the most experience of anyone on this committee.
How about the sixth? Or,
It's gonna be all hungover.
you already said, and you don't have to say.
Well, election day, I'll probably, I'll be at the high school at 5:30 AM and I'll get home around 11 AM.
Primary's the fifth, right?
The next day I'll be like, what?
So, all right, maybe we should just fly solo on that one. Cause that, I forgot, yeah, the election, that's gonna be a busy week.
Yeah.
So I think we can fly solo on that one.
Cool.
I think we'll be all right. And if
We
we're
can do it.
not, whatever.
That's right.
All right, so I guess motion to adjourn.
I would move that.
Second.
The meeting ends at 7:13 PM.